Alright, hello. First of all, thank you for being so patient. I know this literally took like over a month to get to. I managed to finish the semester for my college. It went relatively well. I also, for the last couple days, did put in some hours myself grinding because I wanted to try and see how high a rank I could hit for the end of the season. Because it was like ending my first time to really just dedicate like entire days to playing. Uh, so yeah, now I'm totally free. I ended up getting Celestial 1. I was like halfway to Eternity, so it was like close, but close enough, you know. I'll say it was rough. I had to end up just focusing on Raccoon because Cloak was just not quite as strong. Anyways, enough yapping. Let's get into it. We're reviewing a Loki game. It was, I believe, like gold, plat, yellow. I'm aware. I think I remember you said that you hit Celestial, so like amazing job on that. Well done. I know this is obviously nowhere near a Celestial rank lobby. I remember you said you were taking a break, and it makes sense that you'd be in plat yellow because that's where my like Wanda account's on right now. I played a game of Wanda a little while ago, and yeah, it reset down to plat. So realistically, this game should be kind of, I don't know, it's probably not the best one to review, but still focus on what you're doing, um, despite the fact that the rank is a little bit lower of the overall game. But I'd be a little careful standing still here. You know, you never know if you're against a Hawkeye or Mantis Widow or something. You just get one tapped here. It's just a little scary. I also like us to position where we can see our whole team. Ideally, you want to be able to see your DPS. Want to be aware of where our DPS are playing. It looks like we have Starlord up here. So we want to be aware of if he's fighting anyone and if we need to heal. Um, the better your awareness of where your team is, the better your reaction. I do like the idea of getting ult charge for Loki, obviously, like spamming instant, it's good, but you want to do that without compromising on other aspects of what you need to do. There's also a lot of places you can put clones on high ground here. I do like maybe having this clone here because we can, use the lamp if we need to, and maybe have one like back here. That's your kind of safer clone that'll stay up. You can use it consistently, and teleport to if you need to. Um, it feels like I feel like these are both gonna break relatively quickly. Like this one should break instantly, and this one will break not too quick or not. It won't take that much time to break it. Also against Human Torch, so we need to probably not stand in our team against Human Torch. He'll kind of spam down those little fire things, and if he stacks them up, he can literally explode. Any like you can get one shot by it if he stacks them. Also, we weren't aware of Starlord happened here. Yeah, it is a little trickier to heal people above you because it's harder to notice, especially if swing on here. But I would argue that I don't think there's anyone that you need to be like hard pocketing right now here. Like your team's kind of chilling, so I don't think there's a reason that we couldn't heal that guy. Other than he's in the air, so it might be harder to hit. But he was originally on this little ledge thing, and you can shoot that. Uh, I guess this clone probably isn't the best, just because it'll be blocked by this bridge. So maybe have your clones more back here, so they can heal your up here. Positioning's relatively good. I like that we can see our Hela. It's important. I'll also say, um, I do like standing like here because I like being able to hear if people are flanking around this corner. Because it means I can quickly react to it. If we stand over here, then it will take longer before you hear people. Um, just like a small thing. But it does help. It also, like, as your team moves back here, it can be nice to stand here because then you can actually kind of see out of the corner of your eye if people are coming here. I'd just be aware if you're standing here that this is entirely a flanking angle that is open. So if you're standing here, check that every now and then. Not to mention, as well as Loki, you can definitely play high ground up here, like there or here. Helps even more with the flanking angle, like because you're not against any long range sniper characters. You're not against Widow or Hawkeye or Hela, so you could very easily be playing high ground without risk of getting one shot, due to being in line of sight. Like, if the only really risk is like Johnny and Wanda, but if they start pressuring you, you just drop down and play behind your team and play next to your support. Um, Also, the other issue here is you can see that you're split up from your dagger. You guys want to definitely be playing where you can heal each other when you need to. So you don't want to let terrain be blocking between you guys. Better because now you can see each other. We didn't need that lamp. This feels like we're lamping so that we can frontline and be silly. Not use your lamp like this. Save your lamp. Very important. Use it when you never know when someone was gonna drop the 1 HP and you'll be able to save it with lamp. Yeah, I mean, these are alright. You can see that they're very easy to see. I'd like to see usage of high ground here for a safer clone, like this clone here, right? Because this one is anything this clone can see, a clone here could also see, and this one's harder for the enemies to see. So this is objectively better. And this one is just wait, which one is that? Ever which one's you? Yeah, this is just, right in front of them. If you're gonna do more offensive clone, I mean, you could be a bit more crafty of this one, I think. Like right here, tell this angle here. This just, I feel like this one is not getting that much value. Gonna die real quickly. Also, we don't want to be, you see how we're standing, like, on the left side here? As our team is gonna be moving back, because you should anticipate that they might need to do that, your team will be going here, right? And so you want to be behind your team relative to where they're moving, because you don't want to be the last one moving over here, because that would mean that your mag will have to double back to try and save your ass if they start focusing you, which they will, because you're right in front of them. See, going into this room, it's a little scary. So I mean, as Loki, you have a bit more, freedom because you can teleport and stuff, but you need to be like anticipating that you will need to do that. And I don't really think that we need to be here. We don't need to dedicate our teleport and ability usage to, repositioning. So I would just position here in the first place, or any of the high ground places that I mentioned. This feels unnecessary and will force out ability usage or have a bad positioning situation happen. You can, I mean, surely you can tell this is a really awkward position now. I mean, I will say also your mag shouldn't have been going back here. Like, obviously your mag should be going this way. But let's say that you were doing exactly what I say here. We saved our lamp and we were playing high ground, maybe like here or here. We could probably put a clone down and save our mag with lamp. Potentially. Although this is this is kind of a terrible transition by our mag, so. Oh my, how did the Scarlet not see us? That's crazy. Alright, well, anyways, at this point, we just want to reposition quickly. We don't want we don't want our team to take part in this fight without us being there. So we need to get our butt back over here ASAP. Okay, I mean, our cloak did ult, so now we're gonna have an easy time getting back because we can just walk through the ults. Just wary of Emma because she could kick us out and kill us. But I mean, yeah, you'll be fine now. But unless you were absolutely 100% sure that's what was gonna happen, um, which I don't think you should have been because I don't think this is the best cloak ult usage. Um, I don't think you'd want to take this angle. I think this is more you're getting this kill because the enemy is unaware and you're punishing their mistake, but only because you were doing something that could get punished very harshly. So I don't think that you. I think better players would react and have an advantage based on this decision that you made. I mean, you can see Dagger literally put her dome down, and she walked away from it. Like she should put the dome here, you know, put the dome there. The Rocket and Cloak will pocket each other. Their team turns. Sure, you go invincible in the Cloak, but I mean, they're not gonna die. They're not gonna die to you. And it also means that you're not in the right position for a longer amount of time. And that's only because it only goes that well for you because there's a Cloak ult. Imagine this cloak ult didn't happen. This is just, you know, they stand in the dagger bubble, everyone turns on you, you either die or teleport out and waste time. Didn't need that lamp because we have a cloak ult. Yeah, these clones are just right in front of their line of sight. There we can be more creative with them. Okay, I do get the logic there of a magic went into my backline, I'm lamping so that we don't die. But I do think that we didn't need a lamp there. She kind of whiffs her whole combo. Like right here, you see your dagger's full HP. Like who is she on right now? She's not on anyone. If she dashed straight into the back where your dagger is, and you see dagger is full HP without a magic on her, she's fine. I don't think we need the right click because we walk behind the wall. Bit nitpicky, but I think your right click deserves to be saved a little bit more than that. Glad we're staying near our cloak. That's good because we need to be ready to ult. Okay, we're up 2. Up 1 now. I mean, that guy kind of got deleted. I don't think it was really on you. That said, I would kind of be spamming this guy because he's ulting, so he will be the focus of attention. I mean, he did die very quickly, but since he's ulting, you should kind of anticipate he's going to be the focus. So I'd probably spam him just because, I mean, he's also next to a wall, so, you know, it's very easy for you to spam heal this guy. I think there is a potential that you could have saved him, and you could have, you know, been proactively preventing his death because he's ulting. That does require that you notice these ults. Sometimes I know in the heat of the moment, it's like kind of tricky to notice when your Starlord is ulting, especially if they don't comet, which a bunch of them don't. But you know, it by all means you could notice that, and you could be healing this guy in his ult and potentially save him from instant death there. I agree with the cloak ult reaction because honestly, I don't think it was really that good of a decision by the enemies to cloak ult because I think that they already had an advantage and they weren't at risk of dying. This cloak ult's a bit unnecessary. You're also your team's in a position where they can easily kind of walk backwards, you know. Um, so I don't think it was the best use of the ult by them, and 100% it's a good use of yours to match it. Um, I think potentially we could be waiting a little bit longer. I think yeah. So we do copy cloak and ult, and at this point, yeah, it makes sense because we're in a position where we're getting kind of screwed. But I think we could have been positioned better. I think we could have been more like back here or high ground, where we wouldn't be getting spammed by squirrel, which would allow us to have more leniency with when we use this cloak ult to match them. Um, and you know, because it's the longer you can wait before matching this ult is better because it'll mean the more time that you'll have as your team where your ult is active and theirs isn't. And typically on attack, you don't want to just ult him with your support ult. Uh, as an engage because of that specific reason. The only thing that I consider being worth it is if you get your support ult ridiculously fast and the enemy is in a position where they are not able to walk away, because I think that can, especially on the maps where I think it's convergence, the ones where there's a point, not a payload at the first part, you can push in and wipe them off before they have a chance to have their defensive ready, and then you wipe them and get that point, because that secures the objective for you. But on payload it's already kind of like because they can regroup and come back, and now I have two defensive ults and you only have one, so it's kind of like so. Um, so this isn't the best for them in the first place, which is why it's good for you to be able to copy and retaliate with your defensive, because it denies the pressure that they get from the ulti. Also, a lot of cloaks, will just kind of go in and start DPSing in the back line. And if you can wait a little bit and then pop yours, it means that they're gonna have to walk back through your entire team while they're invincible. Which in this meta, there's a lot of freaking characters that can grab and CC and do a bunch of stuff to cloak. So that can be kind of scary for them walking back through the team. Um, but yeah, I agree with matching the cloak ult, but try and position in a place where you're not going to be forced to do the cloak ult instantly, because I think that you could get more of an advantage for your team. The second you hear supernova, though, 100% you're ulting, because that is actually going to kill your team, and your team is now in a position where scary. Like, this is a lot of kill pressure. So yes, good ult usage here. Okay, one thing I'm gonna say is, like I mentioned before, in this meta, there is a lot of stuff that can actively just come and grab you as cloak. I do also love going into the backline and causing chaos and DPSing as cloak, but you need to be really careful and aware of what you're playing against. Um, because if you die in cloak ult, it's really, really, really bad. Obviously, I mean, it's a support death. You're also having your ult end faster. It's not good. Um, Against the comp you're in right now, there actually isn't that much I would be worried about. The only things to be considering is not getting burned alive by torch in your ult, because he can burn you through it. But when you're actually casting the ult, it's not scary because you're moving a lot. The other thing would be Scarlet Witch ult, which she doesn't have. But if she times it right, it can be kind of hard to avoid as cloak. Um, yeah, other than that, you're kind of chilling. Just don't get absolutely shredded by everyone hitting you at the same time. Um, Usually, I don't go this crazy on going this far back, because um I don't like, even in the ulti, I don't like being this far ahead of my team. Um, usually the way I'll use it is if I'm in the kind of standard position, kind of behind my team. Let's say that here let's do a little. This Ankh represents my team, and let's say that we're like right here. I would kind of dash once, twice, back, back. Just end kind of behind my team. Um, the other way to do it is if you're against Magneto, you can try to have like a wall here that he can't ult you at. You can go forward, back, back, and just go wherever over here to make sure that you don't get Goomba stomped by Magneto ulti. If he times his ult perfectly, he can like smash you on the second one. But that it's I have only had a Magneto ult me on the second dash like very rarely. Like that guy has to be kind of nuts, or maybe happen to be ulting at the same time. Um, if you ult forward, backwards, and behind a wall, you're gonna be fine. Um, a standard for Magneto. Obviously, you're not against Magneto, so I know that's slightly off topic, but just a little bit information of how to use Cloak ult, which as Loki, unless you're playing at the highest lobbies where Cloak really isn't played much, you're gonna see a lot of Cloak and Dagger. So it's good to know how to use the ulti. Yeah, see, this is kind of my concern about being that aggressive, the positioning on Cloak is you're on like if you're up here, you're on a time limit, right? Your ult lasts once you finish it, I believe all the paths last for 8 seconds. So there's the time of your ult, and you finish your last dash 8 seconds, right? So if you're up here for like 4 seconds doing whatever, that means you have 4 seconds to get back, right? And it's a little scary because I mean your team is also going to be backing up depending on what happens. Like if something goes really badly up here and your team will be kiting even further back, like it's going to be really hard for you to get back. So just be a little careful about going too far ahead of your team here, because it also means that you can't see what's going on here. Is that it's chaos. So just don't go too far as the Cloak ult. I strongly feel that if you had not gone that far, and or stayed DPSing over there that long, I think you probably would have had a much higher chance of being aware of what's going on here and not died the strange ulti. Alright, let's see what's happening here now. Okay, so your cloak's at 91%. I'm seeing like, we're almost lost here. We've almost lost this. Why can't my mouse go over that? That's annoying. Alright, you can see above where my mouse is. Like we've almost lost the point. As Loki, you can definitely teleport on, and then put clones down to get as many lamps as possible, and just stall for your cloak to get their ulti. Then your cloak ults. Also, calm to your team. Ask if someone can portal. Ideally, Mr. Shack on Crack, good name. Um, Ask him as a Magnew portal to try and get a strange portal going, because let's say that you teleport on, you lamp, 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 stall, 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 maybe you die, Cloak barely gets her ult off, now the ult is stalling a point, you respawn and are able to come through the portal with the whole rest of your team. Like, it's entirely winnable. The portal helps a lot, and even without portal, you should try. You should stall, teleport on, use lamps, stall, get Cloak ult. Um, don't give up on this point, because it's winnable.
Down to 30 seconds.
Yeah. Especially against Squirrel Goat, now we don't want to be putting these clones like in front, because Squirrel's gonna hit this and it's gonna hit your whole team. Hey, watch this. Actually, I think she kind of whiffed on the clone, but yeah, don't. The lamp should be on the cart, not here. I mean, this. I think you can at this point see the mistake. You should have this utility on the cart stalling. Cloak's now at 99%. I strongly argue that you could make a play there for stopping them from getting that point. There's a lot of high ground spots to put your clones on here, by the way. Like, there's here, on the other side of the thing. There's right here. You can have clones on this thing, like on this corner. Like, there's a lot of places you can clones. So I really don't want to see you putting them in the front, especially against a Squirrel Girl. Or I mean, even not against a Squirrel Girl, but like especially against her. Don't put them just right in front of the enemies. Like, these are both going to die pretty quickly. We don't want to be positioned off to the left here. The same thing as what I was mentioning before about being on the left side when your team was kiting to the right. You don't want to be the last one moving over here. As Loki, you can't be teleporting, so there's that argument, but you don't have a teleport off cooldown, or I mean a clone off cooldown. So that's gonna be really hard. A better position would be over towards where your cloak is, or on high ground up here. This is a good spot to be. This is not a good spot because how are you going to get from here to here while seeing your team the whole time and keeping cloak up? Like, you're gonna have to walk here in front of the enemies, being the pressure, getting potentially killed, then walking over here, not being able to see your team while you're walking over here, and then finally coming back here. There's a lot of issues with that. Not to mention, you can also be focused very quickly here. Like, you've been standing here and just kind of firing, and they haven't really been dealing with you. Like, Swirl hasn't been spamming you here. She should have. Like, you are, bro. Like, where are they? Look at this. There is a rocket ult. Where are these guys looking, bro? You are like, I don't know. This is you getting away with a big mistake because your enemies are making a even bigger mistake. Not sure really where we're even aiming. I would probably be reloading here, to be honest. And then, yeah. We don't need that lamp. There's also a dagger bubble here. Like, there's no one that was critically low. No one was at risk of dying. Don't use that lamp there. Against Human Torch as well, the high ground is really good because it means that if he's attacking you, he's not attacking your team, and if he's attacking your team, he's not attacking you, right? He has to split his focus and his pressure. You want him to do that. If he starts focusing you, fine, teleport away, or go invisible, or drop down, or if you have to, use lamp, right? You don't want to just sit in your whole team and have everyone get nailed by the fire. That's really unfortunate. Okay, at that point, your team is like full regrouping. Like, that is absolutely tragic. You are now down a support and don't have a defensive ulti. Um, this is scuffed. This is die or get out probably, unless your team gets a pick very quickly. But yeah, I mean, the score. This is very scuffed. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna assume that was a misclick. Yeah, tell your team to die on point. And the reason being is the reason you want to die in point is you see how the cart's moving while this fight's happening. Just make it so that the time in between the cart beginning to move and the time that your team is now recontesting the cart is as small as possible, right? If you guys get off here and are fighting here and dying here while the cart is now moving, then the time will be larger for when the cart starts moving and your team recontests because the cart is already moving, right? But if your team is losing and you say die on point, the cart will be like back here, everyone fights, dies on point, the cart then starts moving after everyone's dead, and you guys come and recontest it as fast as possible, right? So you don't want to like. This is kind of the reason that staggering's bad, is because it means if someone dies, there's more time that the cart moves before you get a full fight. Same logic here, less extreme. The cart starts moving before you guys are even dead. See, Mag is like running around here. Look at this point, bro. All right, let's see. When does Mag die? Mag dies there. Okay, look where the cart is. All right. Imagine that you told your team, guys, just die on point, die on point. Let's say the Mag just died right there, right? Mag just died. He's respawning. The cart is probably about like right here when he respawns, right? But now look, let's watch. They should have 3 on, by the way. They should be moving faster. There we go. That's now where the cart is when Mag respawns. So if something like that happens where your cloak just absolutely botches it, just tell your team like there's only 2 possibilities. One, your Bucky or something pops an ult, or is Hela in this case pops ulti and kills 2 of them, and now the fight's winnable, right? That doesn't immediately happen. It's looking scuffed. Fight on point, die on point, regroup. Um, and it's only that devastating because it was your cloak that died. Having your support die first is really, really bad. That's why I'm kind of just like that fight's kind of over. Um, if you had defensive ulti and could stall, maybe okay, sure. Because then you can be cloak ulting, fighting. Your team maybe gets a kill. It's doable. Sure. But with no defensive ulti, cloak dead, it's not looking good. Okay, so now we are at this point kind of waiting for our mag to get back. I don't like sticking our clones right in front of where they're gonna be looking. Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, I guess you can make the argument that you want to get ult charge ASAP for stalling this point. So sure, you could have ult clones here for this one like specific scenario to just spam get ult charge. But any other scenario, don't put the clones like that. Okay, the lamps I guess make sense because we're trying to walk up and be able to touch this cart. I would like to save them if possible, but I mean, let's see where our mag is. I want to see our mag. Mag's coming out here. He's trying to get. Okay, I don't know why my mag walked over here. He should be walking the cart. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd probably walk up and use lamp on the cart to guarantee that this doesn't get C9'd. Yeah, but cloak barely touched that. Scream touch. Say touch, touch, touch in the chat so that your mag doesn't wander over here for no reason. Okay. Would not be cloak ulting. Would not be cloak ulting. Reason why is you've now touched the point. Your mag's on the point. You and Dagger should both back up, be here, pocketing mag, and only cloak ult when you actually need it. Because if you cloak ult here, they wait like 4 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever, and then cloak ult back into you guys, it's gonna be bad because they're gonna your ult will be basically nullified. It only gives them potential for a huge advantage by you ulting here. You're not stopping any DPS ult or anything. No one's critically low. You don't need this. And it would make sense if your like mag wasn't here and you're stalling for him to get here, but mag's here. Mag gets in point. You and Dagger can come back here and be pocketing him. And even if Dagger's stupid and she doesn't, and she just like I'm the tank, I'm gonna stall on point. Then you can still do your best to pocket her here. I wouldn't be cloak ulting there. You shouldn't be using your ult just because your Dagger's not in the best position. You come back here, pocket these guys, stall this point as long as possible without using your ulti. Only use it when you need to. Yeah, Torch is 1 HP. We kill Torch, nice. Okay, see, they matched it. They didn't need to match that quickly. They did not need to match that quickly. Look at their health. They were chilling, right? This is not necessary by them. They could say backup team. I'm gonna match in a couple seconds here. Okay, that rocket can very easily get away from you. This kill is entirely preventable in their part. This guy has both dashes ready. He could fly on top of the building. He could fly over this wall. He could just dash backwards twice and go out of range of you. This guy does not need to die. This value that you're getting is should not be something that you consider to be consistent. That you'll always get by doing this. This is not. This is a fluke. I mean, look what bro did. Save the fade as well, because you might want to fade up here or something. Yeah, this is scuffed. Same situation before, die on point. You know, I gotta think more like a Loki. Yeah, of course, you can stall here and then teleport out. Okay, sure. I agree with that. That's actually way better. You know, I take back what I said. That was the perfect play. You stall here as much as you can, come back. Sure, okay. Okay, I'm not sure what we're doing here. Okay. I feel like you don't usually make a mistake that giant. That seems like an outlier to me. I think this mistake is just, I don't think I need to talk about this very much. Regroup with your team, don't frontline, you shouldn't be the one on point, come back to your team. I'm gonna respect you and say that was you not thinking. You are better than that. You could have cloned better here, clone better position. They can go up here, maybe up here. Corner probably, yeah, I think this corner works because your team, well, the cart's there. They might be pushing up further. Probably have them more towards this side, just so you can see more of an angle here. So up here is probably better. This one's not terrible. Oh wait, no, that's you. Yeah, probably a little further back. I don't think there's any reason you need to have it up here. You don't need to lamp anyone right now. That lamp is completely pointless. Okay, that's probably the biggest thing I'm seeing right now in this game is pointless lamps. Yeah, I mean, have a better position unless you're getting blocked by this ledge here. I think you can. That's the reason you dropped. You realize it was a bad spot, but you know, be more aware of what good spots and bad spots are, so that you don't have to realize that this is a bad spot in game. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of our positioning. I feel like we can very easily be playing more cover here. Like it's because your team isn't that far up, right? They're here. Your position should kind of be dictated around where your team is playing. You want to give yourself the opportunity to have as much cover as possible as a strategist, so that you can hard pocket when you need to. And like if you have an opportunity to go for damage, then you know, take it. But you want to position where you are able to relieve pressure from yourself. And this is not that position. You're against a squirrel girl who is probably just spamming acorns in this general vicinity, all of which are going to probably hit you in the face. There's a health pack that you can get, by the way. I know we're a little scared of the squirrels, but I mean the health pack's not in the room with the squirrels, I don't think. The health pack is right here. Yep, you can get this health pack. Um, and you can teleport through walls. So if it got scary, I mean, if you had a clone back here, like I'm saying, then you could get this health back, and if the squirrel suddenly go boom boom like right to you, you just teleport to your clone. I also don't like that we have to use lamp here. I think that we could be playing somewhere that our cloak can, or yeah, our cloak and dagger are able to see us, and then we wouldn't need to be having that happen. Where is our cloak and dagger? Oh, yeah, they're up here. You see also, you see how cloak dies? I wanna watch this perspective for where cloak is. Okay, cloak's here. Okay, she's making the same mistake. Yeah, you guys both shouldn't be here. It does make, okay, You are both playing in a position together, sure, good, but you should both be over here, not here. This is a dead end, right? They walk the cart here, your team moves here, Stranger's here, and Stranger's like, okay, well, it's okay, I'm gonna path back here with my supports behind me. And he looks to his left and he's like, why are my supports over here? Right? Because it makes sense in this moment. If the point never moved, this wouldn't be that bad. But the point's moving, right? This is gonna become bad. I mean, Strange's positioning isn't that great, but he probably saw you die. Or maybe he did, I don't know. Overall positioning of your whole team is kind of bleh. Like, you guys can pocket each other here. It's a lot scary. You can break squirrels together without dying. Hello is over here. Your whole team's positioning was kind of scuffed there, including yours. When did we get our ulti, by the way? We've had ulti for a while, haven't we? When did we get it? Let me see. So we got ulti right here. Cloak has ult ready. You should probably calm between you guys. Say, Cloak, you can ult first. I'd probably have Cloak ult first, just because Cloak does get their ult relatively quickly, just like you do. You probably get yours a tiny bit faster, but it's easier for Cloak to counter ult because she can do it instantly, whereas you have to, you know, click on her and then ult. I usually just have Cloak ult first and Loki ult second, unless it is like, unless my Loki is calming and I believe in them, and they're like, they're saying they want ult first. So okay, Loki, I trust you. I'll you ult first. But other than that, I just Cloak ult first. I mean, by all means, they should have ulted here too. Like, one of you guys should be ulting here. But I think we could have positioned to make it easier for us to not need ult. But here we are. We're in this position now. We need a Cloak ult. One of you guys needs to ult. We should not be having our whole team die with both support ults up. Like, there's no excuse there. That was not ulting there is a giant mistake. One of you guys needs to ult. That was, along with using lamps not the best way, I would say that's probably the biggest mistake that you made this game. And to be fair, not entirely your fault, because Cloak could ult first. But because neither of you guys ulted, I feel pretty confident in assuming that there wasn't communication that happened there. So, yeah. Unless your Cloak wasn't in comms and you said Cloak ult and then Cloak didn't ult, I'm gonna have to assign some of that blame to you. I don't like us ulting here because we already have a Cloak ult active. You can see that... Watch this. Right there. Your Cloak just ulted there. Their Cloak had already ulted. So at this point, we have a Cloak ult that is going to last longer than their Cloak ult. So this is already a good situation for us, right? Although our Cloak ult was kind of scuffed because it was too far forward and our Moon Knight's getting destroyed here, but hopefully he walks around. Oh, barely. He barely walked around. Nice. So this is a beneficial position for us. So our Starlord is ult to ulting. We are winning this fight. He should have waited until the ult was more far along, although he can kill this Human Torch. And I guess King Larry. Yeah, this is already a winning fight for us. We did not need this Cloak ult. So I'm gonna say we are not using support ults when we need them, and we are using them when we don't need them. Your Cloak ulting to match their Cloak ult made sense because we waited a little bit and then ulted. The positioning of it wasn't the best, but it made sense to use it there. And your team won that fight. But your ult basically made zero difference to this fight. And your ult should not be used when it makes zero difference to a fight. imagine you had the click ult now. Look how scary this is now. They've got the rocket ult. These guys. Okay, here's what I'd say. Um, especially with rocket ult, because rocket is a little bit unique. It's not the same as other support ults because it doesn't have the raw like counter potential that other support ults do. Because like it can be broken, and its healing is like the lowest out of the support ults. Like I think Invisible Woman's like 165. Rockets is 100 shields per second. Which it's good. It has overhealth. It's beneficial. It's not the other support ults don't have that, so it's a benefit. Um, but it can be used more offensively than other ones can, because not only does it provide the overhealth, but it also gives the damage boost. And it lasts quite a long time and has a very large range. And not to mention Rocket can be doing a lot of damage too, like himself. He can be dashing up and blasting a tank too. So this one can be used more offensively, than like say a Cloakle. Um, and you guys don't have a defensive, so because you guys don't have a defensive, they can probably put this more in line of sight at you guys and just run you down, because that you can't break this. Like if they put it here, you guys can't afford to break it. Um, and you're gonna have to walk backwards, and they can just run you over here. Like Strange goes the shortest possible path, like right here, and just walking into you guys, and their whole team is just running you over. You're all dead. They win the point. Easy peasy. But if they did that and you had Cloak ult, then this will probably not be the best play with them, because they can match your Cloak ult. Um, so which would be beneficial for you guys, because you can back up a second and then match your Cloak ulti, come and break the rocket ult, and you win the fight. But because you don't have a defensive, it does make sense for them to use this more offensively, and it allows them that option where they can have a really good shot at just winning this point instantly. In fact, it's pretty much guaranteed. If they W key here with the rocket ult, I don't see a way that you can win. Like they did not use this the best that they could. I do also want to mention the reason I think using the rocket ult offensively there would be good for them, is because there's basically only one fight left. So if they use that and run you down, they instantly win the round. If that wasn't the case, if it was further along here, I would say they probably shouldn't do that, because there is a more at overtime, or even any time, it opens the possibility of you guys farming up a started ult and then started ulting them, um, and having like a defensive ult advantage. It wouldn't be good in that situation, but because it's the last point here, it is like they guarantee secure an objective by doing that. It makes sense to use it offensively there for that last fight. Only because you don't have a defensive ult, by the way. One small thing is when you come out of spawn here, I'd probably instantly lamp, because you can see you have two clones up here, and it might make the difference. You can't actually see, but it could make the difference. I would lamp, because you know that the clones are, at the point. Yeah, these definitely would make a big difference. Just lamp, because in that situation, it might save the day. Only because it's like OT last fight. That's tough. I mean, I would have probably put the clone up here and just TP'd. Or at least put the clone somewhere and teleported away, just because these squirrels are on you. And you want to try and get away from them. I do understand that we really want to ult. In this situation, I'd probably try and ult the cloak here. Ulting Hela is not the worst option, but the issue is that we need to contest point, and cloak ult definitely allows us to do that very easily. So if you can, copy cloak. If you can't, last second, copy Hela, ult. Avoid these squirrels. Like, teleport away from them. I know it's hard, but like, yeah, I mean, your teleport wouldn't even cooldown by the time. Tough situation. Tough situation. Alright, so we hear Penny. We are telling our team to not instantly walk out here. Honestly, have your mag just walk out. We don't need the lamp. Mag can just walk out and bubble, or um, I mean, you don't want him to get one shot, but there is a potential that you can get a lot of ult charge by your tank not dying. Um, the safest play is to just have mag walk out with bubble, and then you guys all walk out. I definitely don't think we need lamp. I would say lamp is a bad call. Okay. Clones can go up here, anywhere. Like you can have one back here as well. Um, up on the high ground is probably better because it'll be able to consistently see here. Only issue is you don't want Torch to instantly kill him. So if you can put him away from him, maybe have a clone here just off the rip. This one makes sense. This is good. Wait, was that one dead? We're just moving that one. Avoid using your clone cooldowns when you already have decent clones. You already had clones that worked here. And that's like a wasted clone. We're using our lamp to front line. We shouldn't do that. Okay, same reasons that we talked about before. We don't want to use this cloak ult because our team is not at risk of dying. And the other thing that you want to consider that's also important defensive ultis is how easy is it for my enemies to just walk away? How easy is it for them to get out without dying and without using anything in response? If it's very easy for them, then probably don't defensive ulti. Bruh. Tell your team to shoot the squirrels. Shoot the squirrels, goddammit. Yeah, I think you realize it was a bad copy, which is why you're holding on to it for such a long time. But you know what? Good players, they hear you say, your powers are mine, right? Um, and they're like, Loki copied, guys. Let's just back up and wait for him to use it. And then they'll recontest you with defensive ult advantage and win the fight. Yeah. You see, they were actually able to basically wait out your entire ult without even having anyone die because they were positioned so far back. You did get space on cart, so that's good. It's not the end of the world in that sense, but they're probably gonna wipe you here now. And you want to, even if you get space on cart, if they wipe you, wipes are what really screw you over in terms of time. Now they're pushing the cart back. Yeah, even though you got all that space, you see, you now have that disadvantage of they've got more defensive ultis than you. So they use their cloak ult, and you guys either could have, I don't know if cloak had ult there, but let's say that they did. You guys could match it, but then they wait a second, then pop rocket ult, and then wipe you guys. Or in this case, you don't match it, and they get to run you down because you're like, okay, let's not use another, let's not use another defensive ulti. We'll just take the L in this fight, right? You don't want to have to take that L. Okay, that's huge for you guys because now you guys can back up a little bit, and then you can pop cloak ult and win this fight. Did you see? You can see the positioning, right? Alright, first of all, it's a terrible amp because they can, you can break. Honestly, you can probably just cloak ult immediately, push into them, tell your team to break this, and then run them down. That works. But even said, it's not even that ideal because, like, look how far away your teams are. Like, we can just wait a second and, like, shoot this from far away, or just, if they're pressuring us, just walk back and wait. And then we walk up with cloak ult advantage. In which case we can wipe them. So, and I probably wouldn't even insta pop cloak ult. I would probably just, like, wait this out and then play your team and just hold cloak ult. And the second you guys start losing a fight, then pop it. Because, like, we have that pressure of these guys can't really commit to anything because the second they do, we cloak ult and then they lose. So this is a battle by them because you guys can walk away and they don't get any pressure. They've also put it somewhere you can break it too, but that I'm kind of that's unique to Rocket Ulti. It's bad even if it wasn't positioned poorly because of where the team's positioning are. You can just walk away from them. So I see now we're ulting. I'd give this ult like, I mean it's really not ideal either because these guys can walk away. Both of these support ults are relatively non-impactful. Because even though sure you're forcing them back, but what's really happening? Okay, I mean, sure, now you're gonna win because you've got two cloak ults. Because they didn't happen. At this point, this is kind of a gamble because they don't have theirs, but they could have. So you're gonna outright win this fight, but only because they don't happen to have their cloak already. That's more of like a little bit luck. Like they're 92. Like if they were at 100%, like just 5 seconds earlier, they counter ult and they wipe you here. Yeah, you guys got a little lucky on this. Avoid using your defensive ultis when your team is not at risk of dying, and when the enemies are able to easily walk away from it. If the enemies are not able to easily walk away from your ulti, and you know that you have a ult economy advantage in terms of defensive ultis, and you know that if you win that fight you get that point for sure, then you can consider ulting a bit more offensively. But the teams have to be like freaking mashed together at that point. It has to be where they really can't walk away. So most of the time, just use it when your team is actually at risk of dying, because that's typically when the enemies are actually engaged on you in the first place, right? If the enemies are inside your team, it's probably because they're trying to kill your team, right? They've like maybe like they use an offensive ulti like Bucky ult. They're like Bucky ult inside a team. At that point, then you can defensive ulti because they're inside your team. They've committed with the offensive ulti, and now you're using your defensive at the point at which they're actually inside your team. So wait for those moments.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum. Safely navigate the strands of the web?
Oh, sucks to be you.
I think I remember as well in the first video, the review I gave you, there was a moment in the early game that I was talking about. We've got our ult very fast, and I think that we will be able to like run them down for ulti. I still stand by that, but I think I've learned more as a player myself. I think that yes, that's viable, but only is very situational. It's only if they're inside our team, they can't walk away, and we're very sure that we have a defensive before them. So I would take what I said regarding that in the first video with a grain of salt. The enemies cannot be able to walk away or have a defensive ult ready.
I suppose that helps.
That lamp is not doing anything. We're also not looking at Hela. I mean, our team is kind of mega split up here. Probably best play. We could teleport up here, and then we could see everything, because these guys are kind of playing Ring Around the Rosie with you. Heal her a little bit more quickly. Again, our team's not at risk of dying here. Apart from Emma, who's yeah, our Emma is positioned poorly. This is not something that I think you can easily save. If we hadn't wasted our lamp, well, I guess we're kind of low. Dagger should be healing us though. Ask for healing, back up. You're not actually in line of sight of any of the enemies right now, so you could just have Dagger heal you without dying pretty easily. Just be aware of Squirrel Girl, but come back here. Ask Dagger for healing. Yeah. Magni's healing too. Heal this guy. Emma made a mistake here. We shouldn't have copied because this is not going to do anything. They can just walk backwards easily. And they can do that. So your ult is basically nullified here. Not the best ult by them either because their team is pretty far back and your team can easily now walk backwards without anyone dying. You see, there's a lot of not ideal ult usage here. A lot of ults that people can just walk away from in terms of defensive ultis. These need to be used in situations where people can't walk away or to save someone. I guess I should specify as well. If you are matching a defensive ulti, it should be because the teams are mashed inside that defensive ulti that the enemies used, and your team now will benefit from a defensive ult usage because they are at risk of dying. right? Because if your team can't walk away from their defensive ulti, they are at risk of dying, which makes sense for you to then match the defensive ulti. Um, if they use a defensive ult like this one right here, your team can walk backwards without dying, and therefore, uh, this ult is not good for them, right? Even though your ult wasn't good because it's not doing anything, they can just walk away. This ult isn't good by them because you can just walk away, right? I mean, I don't even know what your hell is doing. Like, there's an ult right here. And you guys ended up not walking away from their ulti and ended up dying, so, you know, kind of mistake on your part there as well, your team's fault.
An easy target.
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
I have become vulnerable.
Also, another thing to mention is that that cloak and dagger ult, you have a starter on your team, right? So their team really they want to try and save their cloak ult if they can for starter ulti, or if they need to hella ulti, right? To be able to keep them alive during those giant offensive ults. So unless they need the defensive ulti to stay alive inside of yours, they shouldn't be popping it like that, right? Because at this point you've basically gifted them a free ult, um, and they didn't need to match it. You kind of gifted them a free defensive ulti, and they gifted you one back. Which now your starter's ulti, and uh-oh, we don't have a defensive ulti to match that. Like, think about how much value those defensive ults from both teams provided, and how much value that they could be providing if used more appropriately. Wow. Oh my god. That was crazy. Wait, how did you guys cap that? Oh, the mag ult killed both the people on point. What a mag ulti, dude. Oh, and then Penny's behind C9ing the point. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was this fight's atrocious, dude.
The vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the
That's really funny. To
momentum.
be honest, with that Squirrel Girl ulti, I think they kind of won that fight. I know you had a Hella ulti, but like I think Penny probably could have been on here tanking the Hella ult for a bit longer at least, and Rocket could be pocketing them. They got torch shot. Yeah, that's funny. I don't think you guys should have won that. I mean, that kind of fight with the scroll roll and stuff, that's the kind of one where a defensive ult could be really good because you can keep your team up inside of all that pressure.
Invigorating, no? You're quite welcome. Miniature metal spider. Interesting. I'm gone. The more the merrier. I am a true
Us against the world.
We're kind of standing behind the cart, by the way. Go to the side so that you can not be shooting the cart.
I am a true team player.
Us against the world.
I am a true
That's it.
Us against the world.
So again, this is a situation, they defensive ult without, I mean, That's actually, I haven't really looked at this. This might have been more necessary on their part. Let's see. Nah, they don't need this. This is another pointless defensive ulti. And you guys didn't need to match this either. I know that wasn't you, but look, they do this, you guys just walk backwards. Literally just walk backwards. Right? You guys just say, come back, come back. They wasted their cloak ult, right? And maybe these guys are smart and W key really hard. Maybe you start pressuring one of you guys and risking one of you dying. That would be when you cloak ults. That would be the point at which you guys freaking match this and then start running them down because you've now got defensive ult economy advantage, right? Because by the time your cloak ult ends, you'll probably have your ult, and so you'd have your cloak ult going. Their one ends relatively fast. Rock ult has to ult to match over here. We then copy Loki when your cloak ult is about to end, and their rocket ult is like probably halfway through, maybe broken, or being risk broken, and you cloak ult, and that's then your guys are winning that fight because you're gonna be invincible and they're not, which makes a very big difference. And this is a situation where if they had pushed up here and then you cloak ult through, at this point the teams will be more clumped together, right? So it means it makes sense for the defensive ultis to come out because there is kill pressure. There's actual risk of dying. Right here, there's not though. Right? You guys could have walked backwards without popping cloak ulti. You could be back here very easily. Now that you guys did cloak ult, everyone should be W keying hard into their team. Even as Loki, we literally just like start DPSing. We walk forward, DPS, kill, 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 because this cloak ult's probably gonna go away soon. Well, actually, that said, our cloak did ult like basically a second after theirs did, so we won't get that much advantage out of it. But for sake of argument, we would say that your cloak waited like 3 seconds before ulting and then matched. Then you guys be coming in and start DPSing. That Human Torch is playing way too high. See, now look at this. That that is what we want to see. We want to see our team inside their team here. Like probably up here, like your team is all like running them down, right? That's what we want to see. Okay. Okay. This is actually a really bad rocket ult at this point, by the way. So, you see this? Tell your team to W key and break the rocket ult. And then yeah. I would probably dash, if maybe here, dash back. Don't go into the tornadoes, obviously, but I wouldn't be W keying straight into them because I'm a little concerned about us getting deleted. There's a rocket ult, meaning that there's more damage output from the enemy team, and there's a human torch ult, so we need to be really careful not to get deleted here. Also, when we start our cloak and dagger ult, right here, go into cloak form first. That way you can fade them more quickly if you need to. The only downside of switching into cloak before dagger, by the way, is that it's actually kind of funny how it works. Your hitbox in cloak and dagger ult depends on who you ulted as. If you ulted as cloak, your hitbox will be the cloak hitbox, and if you ulted as dagger, your hitbox will be the dagger hitbox. So the only disadvantage of ulting as cloak is that your hitbox will be a little bit bigger because cloak is bigger in comparison to dagger. But in this situation, I would consider having the fade available faster more important than having a sort of smaller hitbox. Most of the time, you're not going to get deleted by getting body shot by cloak. The only time you really get deleted is if you get headshot, but the heads are the same size. Which I think they're relatively the same size, so. I definitely wouldn't stay in their team in DPS's cloak here as much because I would really be concerned about dying. Um, their team doesn't really have any CC, but I mean they have a Punisher. You know, Punisher shotgun would definitely one-shot you if he hits a body shot like point blank with a rocket ulti. Yeah, that rocket ult should have died instantly.
Judge, jury, executioner!
You have my gratitude.
I would just stay behind this thing and pocket my team from here. Don't risk going out in front of Punisher. And yeah, lamp, okay, but like I don't think you need to come and stand in your lamp. Like just stay behind the rock and pop the lamp down if you like see a teammate that is getting screwed by the positioning. I think all of your team was fine. They were able to play cover here.
It seems we have company.
I don't like this position because now we can't see these guys. I'd stay back here. Make sure you can see your cloak. It's very important to play where you and cloak can heal each other when we need to. We saw our Moon Knight on the side there getting hit. Right there, I would be turning and looking at him. He just got hit and he's yellow. Died. That's the kind of situation where if we had our lamp, we could maybe pop down a clone and lamp that guy. Because I think he got stunned by the Squirrel Girl Acorn thing.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Also another situation we could use our lamp if we had it. I think we kind of wasted it here. Like this lamp doesn't do anything.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Putting a clone down. Yes, I see a clone here. Having a clone there and lamping. Like let's say your Sora got hit, like that could save him. If your mag was critically low, you could do that to save him. Yeah, I don't agree with that cloak ult either, because like your team is already winning this fight. Avoid using defensive ultis when your team is at a numbers advantage and there is no kill pressure on you. I know it can feel tempting because you're like, oh, we have a numbers advantage. We can ult into them and take advantage of the fact they have a numbers advantage. I get the logic, but the problem is um, when they match your defensive ult, it doesn't matter how many numbers they have, right? It will, no one will die probably because it's a defensive ult. Everyone lives, and all it does is it buys time for their team to come back. So, especially right at their spawn, it is very important not to use a defensive ult when you're already winning. Um, as I mean, there's no reason you're winning. Your team shouldn't die. If your Hela gets picked or something and insta dies, that's not your fault. You shouldn't have defensive ulted because she did that. Um, it's up to them to play the match correctly because you have a numbers advantage. Just play together. Don't take ones. Um, so this cloak is bad because it opens the opportunity that they cloak out of their spawn now, and then they have a ult that lasts longer, and then you ult and have to match their ult, and then they come out with their trump card, the rocket ult, and they win the fight, right? So it's just don't do this. I know this wasn't you, but I've seen you do ults this game that are similar to that. yes, they didn't get touched, but you know, there's potential that they come out with cloak ult and touch in time. So
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
Your god is suffering.
we're putting our clones too out in the open again. Have our clones. At least one of our clones should be more out of sight of the enemies and should be, you know, consistently up.
I still need you.
This lamp doesn't do anything.
Your god is suffering.
Down to 30 seconds.
The more the merrier.
Like in a higher ranked lobby, what's gonna happen if you use lamp like that is let's say that why they're not playing dive, but especially for like Spider-Mans or Venoms and stuff, they're gonna be like Loki no green, Loki no green, right? I hear that all the time in my games on my team, and that's because Loki no green, right? They know that Loki doesn't have lamp anymore, and that's their time to go. So it's a big deal. That's something that is so important that it is consistently communicated as important information. So that's how important that ability is. Um, and you know they're not running dive, but you know it still makes a difference. Like Loki no green.
For my friends.
I'll get you next time. Final 10 seconds.
That lamp I like more. Um, I like it more because our cap is under pressure, was taking a lot of damage. I don't think it was necessary, but it was more what I'm looking for. If your cap was more in danger of actually dying, perfect, right? Yeah, more I'm looking for, not necessary, not probably I wouldn't use it there, but like closer to what I'm looking for. I mean, that guy got freaking insta deleted. I mean, if we could lamp to save him, that'd be, you know, ideal. But like, I don't think you'd react fast enough to save that. That's under the category of instant death. Instant death, generally speaking, is not your fault.
Keep fighting until we have a winner.
Instant, unpredictable death is not your fault. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention, Lacey.
Keep fighting until we have a winner.
I agree. I think that your cloak was out of position and they were at risk of dying. Your cap's also deep. This makes sense to me. I think this was a decent ult usage. I would. Okay, I know we want to save cap. You have to be so careful here, though, dude. This is a Punisher with his shotgun out with a rocket ult. Like, if this guy is like good, he looks at you here and he's like, "Hello there, cloak." Like, this, this should be terrifying for you. Okay, this is not what I want to see. And just to specify why, I'm sure you know why, but Punisher shotgun with a rocket will one-shot you in ult, 100%. Okay, I like that we get out and we reposition behind our team. This is good.
I have many faces.
That was not a necessary cloak ult from our cloak. That was an even more unnecessary cap ult from our cap because we already have cloak ult up. Be very careful standing near these. I think there's only one right now, but torches love to be sneaky and stack a bunch of these, and then fly down one shot you. Yeah, I mean Rocket ult got deleted there. This could have gone worse for you though. Like, yeah. I mean, they Loki could have copied cloak as well, and then they'd have the advantage. They could have also just put the rocket ult, like somewhere better, like here. Or yeah, I'd probably say like right here would be better because at this point they can contest here. Maybe like right here is ideal. It's a little tricky because the cart is ahead of this choke for them. So yeah, I guess rocket ult here would have been the best place for them. So they could have been contesting you that, and that could have gone worse for you, 100%. By the way, if you ever play Rocket, the most important thing about putting your ult down is is the distance it is from the enemies. Because line of sight is also good, but if you don't have anywhere that you can immediately stick it, that's like behind a wall, and it's like last fight, just put it as far away from them as you can at least. Um, that way, the fall off damage applies as much as possible, and melee characters can't hit it. Um, just bonus tip if you play Rocket. And actually, now I think about it, very important is Loki, obviously, because the copy Rocket ult, which, Rocket Loki has been played a lot. Debatable on if it's the best comp. I've seen a lot of hate towards it. I've heard a lot of hate playing Rocket. um, but it yeah, you can make it work if you have good positioning of the rocket ults. Definitely against your punish. Oh yeah, that's their Punisher. Never mind. Wait, no, you have a Punisher. Yeah, against Punisher ulti, they gotta freaking stick it back here. No choice in the matter. They can't have Punisher see it. Is that why I got? That's probably why I got deleted, huh? Wait, what killed the? What killed the rocket ult? So if that, wait, what? Huh? Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't know this. Okay, so if Rocket dies with their ult, the ult lasts, I know that. But I guess if Loki copies Rocket and Loki dies, it doesn't stay. Second this guy dies, the ult goes away. I didn't know that actually. Well, hey, as a Loki player, that's going to be very important for you to know. Don't die if you copy Rocket ult. I guess it's probably because it was the same logic of the cloak. They didn't like it where cloak would ult. Or you'd Loki copy cloak ult and die, and then cloak ult stays in the ground. I guess they made it so that applies to all ults. Interesting. That's okay. I mean, that was an extremely good hold. With a minute 10 seconds on average, I'd say you get the cart a lot further than that. So, good job by your team. Let's see. I'm assuming you guys just come out the door and wipe them here. Clone's close to good. Don't do this. This is bad. Make use of the high ground here. Clone. I think clones go up here. If not, they definitely go up here. They can go up here. Make use of your high ground. I think this is probably one of the best areas for Loki in the entire game, by the way, because of how many good high spots there are for Loki clones. Yeah, that's the clone that I'm talking about on the other side, on defense. I think.
What a sly god you are, Loki.
And GG.
Final score 4-2-3.
Alright, well, I know that I went very in-depth on talking about ult usage there. I think it is kind of complicated on perfect ult usage, but as a support player, it is very important that you get it right, and the more perfect you ult, the better you'll climb. I think I myself have gotten better at understanding when to use use your ults. Um, so if you have any questions about any of the stuff I'm saying regarding that, please ask, because I don't want to like say a bunch of stuff and have you be confused. And I also want to improve on being more clear about what I'm trying to say regarding it. So if there's something I said that's confusing, let me know so that I can improve myself in explaining it. But yeah, thanks for waiting. I know that it took me a while to get to reviewing this replay, or actually, well, originally it was gonna be a different one, but it took me a while to get into your review. And I appreciate you waiting. I hope this helps. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. And good luck on the climb. I think Loki is actually like S tier right now, so he is climbing material. If you can uh, perfect your Loki gameplay, it, he is the pick for getting up to top 500. Yeah, good luck in your games, and thank you so much for participating.